Right, welcome. My name is Kome, and I'm going to take you through the Master JavaScript course, part number 6, where we cover JavaScript arrays. So, an array simply is an array allows us to store multiple values in a variable. So, for example, we can have an array of food items, an array of fruit items, and so on and so on. So, we are going to start first of all by creating a new file that will be calling JavaScript array.js, where we demonstrate how arrays are created in JavaScript. So to get started, we can create arrays using the array constructor. So for example, we can have an array that we are calling food items, which will now be created using the new array, the array constructor there. Then we pass in the array elements. You can say ugali, you can say rice, you can also have greens. So if you have to come here and just say console.log, then log out the food items, we'll have the food items for our arrays, our array properly put there. So I'll just come and execute this in Node. So I'll say Node, then I'll say JavaScript array.js, and you can say Abugari rice and greens there. So that's the next way of declaring our arrays is using the literal notation. So you can again have an array that we're calling fruits, and this will just be you pass in element inside the square brackets. So you can pass in something like, let's say, plum. And then the second element will pass in maybe oranges. Then I'll pass in mangoes. So that's the next way of declaring our array using the object or the literal notation. So you can say and come and say console.log, and then I'll log out my fruits. And there I will have my fruits as I would expect. So again, I will run the code. You can see I have plum, oranges, and mangoes down there. So what if I wanted to put the number of elements in our, or the number of items in our array? So I just need to use the length, array.length. So I pass in the array name and then the length, and I will have the number of dot length. Then I'll have the number of elements in my array. So I'll execute again. You can see the array. What if I wanted to put the first element? Arrays in JavaScript usually starts from the first element. So I'll say fruits. Then I'll pass in the zeroth element. We use indexing. Array indexes usually start from the zeroth index. So here, we'll put plum, I'll pass in fruits 0 there. So I'll just save again and run my code. And you can see I get plum as the zeroth or the zeroth element there. So having said that, then how do we then go to array methods that help us manipulate array data in arrays in JavaScript? So to do that, then I'll just close this. I'll create a new file where I'm going to demonstrate what we call the push and pop. Push means to add an element to an array. Pop means to remove an element from an array. So I'm going to mimic a small program where I will be creating the undo and redo feature that I will be able to demonstrate that the push and the pop. So I'll say undo redo.js. So here I will create a class called edit, because of course that is what happens when you are doing the undoing and redoing. We usually editing data. So from there, of course, our class has a constructor that is used for initializing variables. So the first kind of variable that I will initialize is this dot. I would initialize an undo stack array that will hold all the undone, or all the things that are undone. So we have the undo stack. Then of course I also have the this dot redo stack, which is the variable that will hold again the tasks that have been redone. Of course, as I enter text, then I must have somewhere where I am holding that text, and of course, for now it is an empty array. So from there, what happens? Of course, I'll be typing characters. So I have a type method which accepts characters. So inside here, then once I type something, then what I'm likely to do is that I will first of all take what I have typed and push it to the undo stack. I will take what I have and push it to the undo stack, because the most likely thing that I'm to do after typing is to undo. So I will just push it there. So I'll say this dot undo stack dot push, and of course I'll push in the this dot text, sorry, this dot text. So I'll push what I already have. Now the text is empty, so I'll push in that empty the text there. So the next thing that I'll do is that I'll say this dot text. Of course, now the new character that I have read in, I will come and put it there. So plus is equals to the addition equals operator, and I'll say character. So this way, I will, of course, what I have read in, I will come and append it to the text, so that now there can be something inside the text. So from there, I'm going to have the undo function. And inside the undo function, of course, the first thing for me to undo, then I have to test first of all if the undo task stack has something. If it has something, that's when I can undo. So I'll say if this dot undo stack dot length happens to be equals to 0, then I'll just return, I'll exit that function because there's nothing that I can do. Otherwise, if there's something, then I will have now the chance to do it. And for me to undo, then I'll push first of all the content that I have as it is to the redo stack, and then of course update the text. So this is how we'll do it. So I'll say this dot redo stack dot push. So I'll push that the redo task stack, sorry, and I say this dot text, and then of course I will then later update this dot text to now this dot undo stack dot pop. The undo stack now with the last element removed. So the new text now will have everything that was there, but with the last element from the undo stack removed. And of course now the redo stack has everything that was there before we undo it. We actualized our undo function. So from there, I'm going to copy the same for the redo, but now I'll change some things. So I'll come here and I'll come here and paste. So this I'll call it redo. I'll call it redo. So I will check the redo stack. If it is 0, it has nothing, then I'll just return or exit that method. Otherwise, I will come and push. I will come and push to the undo stack the content as it is, what is inside the text. And then from there, I will of course update this dot text to this dot redo stack dot pop. Again, this happens the same way as we had it here. So we'll have the redo stack with everything, now without the last element. The pop will remove the last element from the redo stack and assign it to this dot text. So this dot text now has the redone, of course, the redone, what was in the redone stack, but now with the last element removed. So having done that, then I think we can come now and try to declare something on, come down here and try to actually to see whether that works. So I'll come and declare constant and declare of course an instance so that I can be able to practice it. I'll call it edit text, which will be assigned to the class name, which is called the new edit. Remember, this is our class name up here. So the class name edit. So from there, we'll just say edit text dot type. I'll type K. I want to type maybe fixer. I'll type F. So once I type F, then I can come and say again edit text dot type I fixer. So from there, I can come now and try to console.log, and I'll log out what is inside the text variable and see whether something has happened. Because now you remember, once we type here, then the text is updated. It is the characters that we type, of course, are updated here. And at this time, then the undo stack also is what is there is already also push the undo stack. So at this stage, F and I will be push the undo stack, and then also F and I will be appended to this text. So when you say, for example, use the edit text dot text, this will help us access what is inside the constructor here, the text here. So as of now, let's see what happens. We expect to have F and I. So when I run, so I'll just come and clear. So I come and say not JavaScript array, but now undo redo.js. So you can see this fi. Let's continue and try to undo and see whether it works. So I'll come and say edit text dot undo. So we're expecting it is undoing the I that has been typed there. So when you say console.log now, edit text.text, we're expecting there are some changes that have happened there. Of course, let's see. So what has happened here is that we are undoing. So we have F and I this time. So when you come and undo, of course, it will check the undo stack, and you see the undo stack has the F and I is not 0, so it will continue to. It will push what is in that undo stack, that is F and I. It will push what is in this also the text, which is F and I, to the redo stack. Then, of course, update our new text with the what was in the and what is in the undo stack now with that last element, the I removed or popped out. So this is now we're expecting just to have F. If I am to save here, I'll come and of course I can see I have Fi and then I have F. So let's redo again. So I'll come here and say edit text dot redo. So console.log edit text dot text. So let's see what happens. So we're expecting to have F and I again. So that is it with the push and the pop. Push adds an element to the top of an array. Pop removes the element, an element from the top from the array, the last element from an array. Push adds an element to the top of the array. So if you have an array of 3 items, then if we push, of course we add the 4th item. If we pop, we remove the third item. So that is it with that. So come here and just end clear and move to something else where we will be covering push and shift. And I want us to create a ticketing system that would normally appear in our banks to demonstrate the push and shift array methods. So I'll come here and create another file. I'll call it push. I'll just call it ticketing.js, bank ticketing.js. So I'll create a class that will be calling ticket. That will be holding all the things that I need to. It's a ticket. Someone visits the bank, for example, and of course, as they come here, they're coming maybe to deposit money. They're coming to check for loans. They're coming to open balance bank accounts. So we must be able to look at that and also queue what activities are there as people come in, so that as once we're done with the activities, we can also remove them from the queue. So these are sort of a queue. So what happens here is that, for example, you come here. The first you will come and declare a constructor. And I want us to have a constructor which has the activities which will hold which will have a variable that will hold the activities of our bank. So from there, I will of course have another one to hold processed, which will hold the processed activities. So from there, I'll also come and I'm done with that. So I'll come down there and of course try to queue, meaning I will add an activity to a queue. So I'll enqueue an activity. So enqueuing an activity, of course, is this dot activity. We'll access the activities array, and then we'll come and push, meaning we'll add to the last part of that array. So we'll push the activity that we have read in. And of course, from there, we will now try to dequeue. But for us to dequeue, we must check if the array first of all is dequeue. Of course, we'll receive in an activity. Come and first of all check if the activity or if the queue is empty. Because if it is empty, then we just exit. We cannot remove anything from an empty queue. So you'll come and say if this dot activities dot this dot length, the length of activities, if it happens to be 0, you'll just come and say return. It means you'll just exit that function method, sorry. And then from there, of course, we can now try and process our activities. So this dot processed, we'll assign it to this dot activities. Of course, we process from the first element, so we'll have to remove the first element by using the shift. So the shift removes and returns the first element. So from our activities, which has elements, which has activities, let's say rows, the first element that was to be added, and that is the first element that will be removed in this case. Remove the first element. If you have 5 elements, then element 1 is what is removed by the shift method. So once we do that, then we can return what we have processed. Return this dot processed. So return the processed, what we have processed so far. So this will of course update the process there. So let's see now this dot activities dot push. So do we need even to dequeue? I think for the dequeue, we don't need to dequeue anything. We just need to remove the first element from the array. So from there, we can also check for the remaining activities. So remain activities. So the remaining activities, if you want to see the remaining activities, then we just need to return this activities.length. So we'll have the remaining activities. So once you are done, this is our class. You can see it there. Very nice class. Now let's declare an instance of the activity. So I'll call it activity. And of course, I will call it new. I will call it the new ticket. So we will come and book a new ticket. So the activity that we need to have at this time, can say activity dot, we want to enqueue or add the activity to the queue. So I want us to enqueue maybe an object which has an ID, of let's say 1, and also have a description. So we can have this as a 1, description. And then description, you can say maybe you are coming to check for the balance inquiry. We have this as our first activity that we are enqueuing. So let's have 3 activities. So I just come and copy this, or come here and paste, again come here and paste. So we'll call this activity number 2. Maybe what you're coming to do here is opening an account. So I'll say opening account, and then I will have another one maybe to check for the loans. Maybe checking loans. Maybe someone wants to go to the loans department, which is activity number 3. So we have accrued 3 activities at this point. Let's try now to log out the activities and see. Console.log. Of course, we'll now access our activity. We'll access our activity object, and then of course access the activities array and see what happens. So I'll save this. So activities array is what we get from here. This is activities, which of course keeps on changing based on the enqueuing and dequeuing that we have done previously here. Enqueuing and the enqueuing that we have done previously. So I'll come here and okay. So I'll clear this. I'm forgetting to run the okay. This is called ticketing.js. So you can see we have ID1, ID2. So we have an object, an array of objects which has the first, second, and third elements, the first, second, and third object. So you can see we have our activities there. So I want us to first to try and dequeue or remove the first activity from there. Of course, the first activity to come at this stage is the balance inquiry. Let's remove that one from the queue once, of course, it has been processed. So you can come here and say console.log And of course, I'm going to use the string literal and say activity. And of course, I'll use now this to pass in the variable. So I'll say activity, the activity that I have dot deq, activity dot deq. So I'll of course deq the activity, and then of course activity dot deq. So what will be returned here, or return this dot processed. So this dot activities dot shift. So this will return the first element, of course, which is this processed. It will be returned the first element. And now since I have returned the first element, then I can access the ID of it by saying dot ID, and then I will say this activity has been processed like that. And then from there, of course, I can now talk about the let's log out and see. Of course, we'll see activity ID number 1. So you can see activity 1 processed. So let's see the remaining activities then. You can say console.log. So we can, of course, output remaining activities again using the string literals. Remaining activities. So again, I will pass in the object, say activity dot remaining activities. I'll access the remaining activity method, which is here, which will return the number of remaining activities. So of course, at this stage, I will have only 2 remaining activities. So remaining activities, you will see there are 2 there. So I think that is it with the push and shift. I hope you understood what the push and shift does. Again, this is our code. You can see from there, class. So that is our code. That is our code all the way to that point there. So let's move to something else. And now I'm going to demonstrate what we call the pagination. Again, another feature that can use an array method to help us do the pagination. So here I want us to let's say we have received data from the server and we want to paginate it so that people can be able to see it. So I'll come here and create a file that I'm calling pagination.js. So here I want to receive data from the server and also be able to show it based on 2 things: the current page that I am in and the number of items that I choose to be shown per page. So here I will use what we call the slice, which takes in an array from the indexes that we passed, the last index that is. So a slice, for example, we say slice. We have a slice. So let me comment this. We have slice, for example, 2 and 5. This will return index 2 to index 4. So return from index 2 to index 4. So we'll try to use this slice array method to be able to work with our pagination. So to do that, I will declare an array that I'll be calling names. And I'm assuming I'm receiving names from the server. So call me Frank. Okay. Quotes, single quotes, and double quotes. Frank, Anthony. I also have James, Christine, Jane. I'm assuming I'll receive Anne and Brian. So I have an array of various elements that I'm receiving from, or various array elements that I'm receiving from. I have an array of elements there. So I want to have pagination. So I will declare a function that I'll be calling pagination here. And the pagination itself that we have here, we want it to have to receive maybe a person's array. Of course, these people. So we are expecting to receive the person's array maybe, and then of course the current item, or the current page, the current page that we want to have. Then we have the items per page. So here we are assuming that the user is having an interface where they're clicking, let's say, for example, page 3. So of course, in the pagination, we must pass in the entire array or the entire table, and then the current page that the user has clicked and the number of items in that page. So, or the number of items per page, of course, because pagination usually have the similar number of items per page to be displayed per page. So from there, for us to be able to display the pagination, then of course we will start by first, let's say in page 2. So for us to display something, the page 2 items, then we must have the begin index where we will start. Of course, if you're in page 2, of course, array indexing starts from 0. So for us to get to page 2 then, or to get to the begin, let's say page 2, the first item. For us to get the first item in page 2, then of course we must know the number of items per page so that we can calculate for the first page. And then of course, because we're in the second page, of course, array starts at index 0. So we must say, we must subtract 1 to the current page and then multiply the number of items per page, and that way we'll see our begin index or our first index. So that will be simply done by this. We'll say current page minus 1. Let's say in page 2, so you'll say page 2 minus 1, so that you can have now 1. And then we'll multiply by items per page. So if you have 5 items per page, then let's say we have we're in page 2. Let's say we have we want to display items, the start item or the start index of the second page. So the current page is 2, so 2 minus 1 will have 1, and then times, let's say we have 5 items per page, so it will be 5, index 5. So index 5, and that is will work, of course, because if we are displaying 5 items per page, then 0 to 4 will display the first page, and then 5 moving forward will display the second page. So from there, we'll calculate the end index. Of course, the end index, if you have the begin index, there is no big problem there. We'll just say begin index, and then we'll just say plus items per page. Of course, the begin index starts at with 1 less, and then of course the items per page, beyond the items per page, then go with the end index. So from there, let's say for example our begin index was 6. So items per page, of course, we have let's say 6, so that will give us 12. But now when we use the slice, of course, you can see here index, the last index is not returned, the past parameter in the past second parameter. So here we have number 5 not returned. So in the same case, if you have 12 will not be returned, but it will go to 11, which means it's the last element in the second page. Maybe you have to use the second page as an example. So from there, just come and say return, and we'll say person or persons, okay, dot slice. Then I'll of course say the begin index, comma, end index. Of course, the end index will be excluded at this stage because the slice goes on the end index minus 1. So that is the pagination function. So let's prepare the current page. So we'll say the current page, let's say it's page 2, and let's say left items per page before, let's say 4 items per page, and then let, of course, let's maybe talk about second page items be given by pagination. Then of course you pass in the names array, then you pass in the current page, and then items per page. That way now you can console.log second item page items. So second page items, you're expecting to get what? So that we are displaying 4 items per page, so we have 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the second page will have 1, 2, 3, 4. So from Christine all the way to Brian. So let's see if that works. So I'll say node current page. Again, I'm calling it pagination.js. And you can see this Christine here, Christine all the way to Brian. So that is working very well. But we made use of the slice. Please don't forget the slice array method. So that is it. Let me continue with something else, and I will create the next array method we are covering is we are covering the unshift. Shift, Of course, as we said, shift removes the first element, and shift now appends an element to the beginning. It is the opposite of shift. So I'll come here and talk about unshift. So I'll call chat app.js. I'll create an application that I'm calling the chat app. So as chat items are coming to our program, they'll be appended to the beginning of our array. So I'll say let new message be given by how can I help you? So of course, I say how can I help you? Of course, we have the messages that were already there, where you can have something there. You can say, maybe you can say there's some messages like hello there. There was another message. How are you? Then maybe there's another, I am fine. I am fine. So you can now pass in, you can now come and say console.log. Of course, let's log out the messages before the new message is appended, or the new message is appended at the beginning. So let's console and log that first. So come here and call it chat app. So you can see hello there, how are you? I'm fine. So let's now come and say console.log messages dot. Now I want us to shift, so you can say messages or messages dot. You can say messages dot, say and shift, then you pass the new message. So it will be ended at the beginning. It will unshift everything, and then at the beginning we'll have that how can I help you. So there's a problem. Message, new message, new message, new message. So that is what we have received there. So I'll save this. I'll come there and you can see hello there, how are you? Console.log messages.unshift, unshift new message. So again, you can have messages.unshift, console.log. So let's have messages.unshift first, and then you console.log the messages again and see .log console.log, and then the messages again and see. So you can see how can I help you has come up there. So that is okay with that. That is you made use of the unshift. So you made use of the unshift. So I moved something else, another array function or array method, sorry. So the array method that we are going to look at here is what we call the splice array method. I'll create a small feature here that I'll be calling the to-do.js. To-do.js. So to-do.js will declare a variable of task items that I have in to-do tasks. And I'll come here and assign my tasks that I have to do. So for today, maybe I have the first task that I want to do is check GitHub issues. And then I'll come here and clone the repository. After cloning the repository, I'll push code, and then I'll create VR pull request. But when you look at this, there is a problem because I didn't have the commit. So I want to have now this task number 0, index 0, 1, 2. So before I push code, before I push code, then you realize I have to commit it first of all. So I missed that item. How can I make use of the splice? So the splice, this will help us like this. Let's see. So I'll say I want to add it in 1, 2. I want it to add it to index number. So item number 1, 2, 3. So I want it to come at the land item. So I can say task let task number task number be 3. So I want that task number 3, of course, to remove. Then you can see again let items to remove. We're interested in removing a zero item, but now we want to task number 3, we want to add a new item. So I will just call tasks array, and then I will say dot splice. Then I will pass in the task number 3. I want to remove zero items, so items to remove 0. And then of course, what do I want to add? I want to say commit changes. Let's see what happens. So from there, I will just come and console.log my tasks. I'll console.log my tasks. Let's see what happens. So I'll come there. This I'm calling it to do.js. So you can see check GitHub issues, clone repo, push code. I think there's something wrong. So task number. For the task number, we have 0, 0, 1. I think it is the second index. So the task number should be 2 there. So we talk about the task index. Let's call it the task index 0, 1. So the task number is 1, 2. So task number 2. So let's again come here. So you can see it's okay now. Commit changes. It is added to the second number 1, number 2. So that's the second 1, 2. So after at the second task number 2, now the new task number 2. Now the new task number 2 will become commit changes. So of course we have 0, 1, 2. So now the new task number 2, 0, 1, 2. The new task number 2 now will be commit changes, as you can see here, 0, 1, 2. So that is it with the splice. So let's continue with something else. Another JavaScript array method that I'll be calling concat for concatenating items. So I'll come here again and create a new file that I'm calling shopping list or shopping cart or shopping list.js. So I want to have, let's say I'm shopping for items. So I want to buy mobile phones. So I will say mobile, the mobile category. In an e-commerce application, I will choose the following. So I'll choose Samsung Galaxy A12. Let's use real data here. Then I also choose iPhone 6. I will also choose Nokia 3310. So in the printer category, let me use the date. So in the printer category, the printer category, I will choose HP OfficeJet Pro. I will choose also Epson EcoTank. I also come and choose ET 2720. So these are 2 items that I have prepared from. I have picked from various categories. So if I wanted to merge them together, of course, what you would call maybe a var shopping cart items. And I will come and see mobile category. And then I will say concat. I concatenate it with printer category. So when I say console.log here, then I will have the entire 2 arrays, or the entire 2 categories combined. So just save, come and run shopping list.js, and you can see Samsung, Galaxy, iPhone, HP. So we have merged the two items or the two categories into one, again using the concat, which is used to concatenate two arrays. So the next array method that we are going to cover is the index of. So I will try to create what I call domain search.js. So the domain search application, we want to search for domains. So I will create a variable called domains that of course now has various domains, like let's say fixer.co.ke. You could also have another domain like google.com. It could also have linkedin.com. It also have another one, x.com. So those are all domains that are already taken. But we want now, let's say, let's search for, we want to search for an array that we are calling x.com and see whether it is an item that is called x.com in an array of domains. So for us to be able to check out that, then of course we use the index of array method that of course returns -1 if that element is not found in the array. So I'll say if, and I'll pass domains dot index of, and then of course the search for item. If it happens not to be equals to, if it happens not to be equals to -1, then we know that what has happened. We know that it has already been taken. So if it is -1, it's not equals to -1, then we'll say, so it returns, we are saying it returns, if it is found, it returns -1. But now it is, if it returns, it is not equals to -1, it means that it is found. So you can console.log and say, we pass in again an array string literal there, search for exist. Search for. So what happens here? Index of search for returns -1 if that item is not found. So if we find it, so if it returns -1 if it is not found, meaning that if it does not return -1, then it was found. So we see this one does not exist. Does not exist. Else, a bit of logic there. So if now it returns -1, it does not exist, or you can say it's already taken. Does not exist. Otherwise, if we get -1, it means it was not found here. You can go ahead and purchase it. So you can come and say console.log again, search for, we are going to search for was, so it was already taken, exists, go ahead and purchase. Already taken. You can just say it was already taken. Try searching for another domain, because if you don't get -1, so if it's not equals to -1, so if it is not found here, we get -1. Now we don't get -1, meaning it was found and therefore it is taken. I think that makes sense to you. So I'll come here and say node again, domain search.js, And you can see it's already taken. Try to search for a new domain. It's already taken. You try to search for another one. So that is it with the index of operator, or with the index of array method. So let's continue with something else. And now I want us to demonstrate a bit larger one, a larger program that will try to validate or check for validating our passwords. Of course, you can use regex, but let's try to use the array methods and see whether you can get close there. So say validate password.js, and here I want to have a function that is called validate password, and this validate password accepts a password that is to be validated. So the first thing that I want us to check to declare is that, of course, I want us to declare a constant called special characters, which will contain an array of all the items that we know as special characters. So I'll say at, I'll say hash, I'll say $sign, I'll say percentage, I'll say and operator, I'll say star, I'll say bracket. So I'll leave all the way to star there. So these are the special characters that we could be having. And then also want const numbers, which will have all the array of numbers that we have. We have 0 that we could be in our password. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we have 6, we have 7, we have 8, and we have number 9. So from there, I want us to look whether, first of all, the password that we have received has a special character. So you can say as special character, which of course will be a boolean. It's either true or false. So here, I want us to look for the special characters array, and then pass in sum, which will take for if any of these, of course, the sum takes in itself, it will check any of these array elements against a callback that will pass in it. So I'll pass in all the sum of the elements, and then of course I will try to check if the password that we passed in includes any of the, if it includes any of the elements that we have in this, then it means that it's a special character. Of course, it will return true. So that is it. Again, we'll come and check if it has a number as number. So we are making use of the sum array method, and also we are making use of the includes. So they both return, this returns either true or false based on whether it is found, and also this one will return true or false based on whether any of these exist in what is there. It returns true or false based on the callback here. So we have the as number, which will be again numbers, the numbers array, and then sum, of course. And then we'll pass them, of course, these numbers, and try to check whether the password, again, the same song and dance, includes the number. So they either return to us true or false. So from there, we try to check if it is, we have an uppercase. So if we try to check if is uppercase, or it has capital letters, so I'll say password. So I'll take the password itself, and then first of all, I'll split it into two. Using a separator, I'll split it into letters, and then for this, so for this password array, the password it will be split again into this array of letters, and then once it is split, then you try to again check for sum with the character that is there again. So password.split, this is split into letters like what we have here. So again, each character is passed in here to this callback. Now we try and compare whether the character that we have is equals to, again using an arrow function. So this is an arrow function. So you come and say whether the character that we have passed is equals to, strictly equals to the character dot uppercase. Is it is or to uppercase? To uppercase. The uppercase is a method, of course. So that will return for us whether it is uppercase or not. So split, of course, it splits the array into, it splits password into an array of letters like what we have here. That's what the split does. Again, using the separator, which is the space, which is an empty separator. So from there, we can come and say, and check whether our password has 8 characters, has 8 char characters. So we'll come and check and say password dot length. If it happens to be greater or equals to it, that would then again this relation operator would return for us either true or false based on what we have there. So from there, you can now come and return something. So you can say if function, if has 8 characters and is uppercase and has special characters and again Boolean expressions and has number, then at that time what we do, we'll just return and say valid password. Of course, you can do your checks there, else otherwise return invalid password. It does not meet criteria. So from there, we'll just come and try to declare some new variable. Let maybe password1 be equals to, I'll call it fixer123. Let's check if that password is okay. So I'll try again to check for let password2 be equals to, now these are valid password fixer123 and then hash. I'll try to check whether the two are, so let's come and try to say console.log, and out console.log, of course, validate password and then pass in password1. Again, console.log, validate password, I will pass in password2. So I'll check the two passwords and look at which is correct. Of course, for this at this stage, password2 is the one that is correct. So this is our code. Again, function validate password. So though you could use it using, you could use what we call regex, regular expressions, to be able to do this in a shorter way, but because I wanted to show you the code of how it's done behind the scenes, then I think that would be okay, still okay. So validate password.js. What's the problem? Character dot to uppercase. So character is a problem with character dot to uppercase. This is equals to character dot to uppercase. So what is the problem that they are talking about? Character is not a function. So character, so let's see, it's not a function, it's not a method. Let's see, we get, maybe there's a problem there. Yes, you can see it's not, it should just be like that. So x dot, no, not that one. It is validate password.js. So the first one, it does not meet criteria. Invalid. What's the problem? Yes. What could be the problem? It should be 8 characters. So I'll again add 1, 2, 3. So that the second password becomes, it must be greater than 8 characters. So let me run. Okay, file save, rerun. Invalid password to invalid. Fix 123 hash 1234. So what could be the problem with this code? Let me check. You can see. So some includes password, includes numbers 0. Okay. Hash at $1234567 So we want the hash, so the hash is included there. If has 8 characters, if and is uppercase and has special characters and has number, return valid password, else return invalid password. So is it true? So let's check whether first of all it passes this, so you can see where the problem is. So we'll say it has 8 characters, try to run valid password. So and as number, push as number, save, try to run again, valid, okay. So this was a number. So and as it characters as number, let's say has special characters in C. So again it says valid, okay. So the problem is with the and has number, special characters has number, has it characters, and is uppercase. I think that's where the problem is. So here we don't have any cap. Okay, there's a problem. Let's see, is equals to char dot. It's talking about a uppercase. Let's see. So that is not a found method. This uppercase is not a function. I think there's a problem there. Character, some character dot. So I think for the capital letters we need to use the character dot to uppercase. Dot to upper to upper. Yes. I don't know why that method is not working. Dot to uppercase. Yes, correct. But it's to uppercase. I think the C there was having a problem. So that is it with that. So that is okay. So now we'll move to something else and cover another JavaScript array method that will be calling join. So I will be talking about dynamic query, dynamic_query.js. So I'm assuming I'll be having a URL and I'll be passing parameters that URL in a dynamic way. So the first thing is I'll pass page. I'll be first trying to pass maybe a page of 1. I want to sort the item in descending order. I also want to have maybe course by sort by the JavaScript, or return where JavaScript, the course is JavaScript in our URL. So from there, then I will create a query string, which will be given by the parameters we have there, dot course dot join, and we'll join them using this separator. So we'll join page 1 and sort descending and So you'll be join using that so that you can be able to pass it to a URL. So you can have const URL. Of course, it can be maybe HTTPS. Let this be as template literal HTTPS so you can pass in that variable www.fixer.co.ke slash search. Okay, search and then question mark. Then you can have to display, you can have a string literal there. We are passing in the query string. So let's see what we have now. Joining. So say console.log. I'll log out the URL. I'll save. I'll come to node dynamic query.js, and you can see we have that varied URL there. Of course, it sorts, it goes to the, it hits this search path, and then goes the past page, sorts in descending, and then it gives us where the course is JavaScript. So that is it. So let's continue to another. We have made use of the join. Of course, it joins using the separator to pass in there. Let's go to another JavaScript method that will be calling the reverse. And of course, as people will be doing maybe your interviews, you'll be having live coding sessions where you'll be having to check whether a number is palindrome. Maybe you can give such an example of a question. So let's check whether we'll call it palindrome.js, and I want us to check whether a number is palindrome. So we'll have palindrome. A number that is palindrome can be read moving backward and moving forward. So we'll be passing in that one of that palindrome there, or that palindrome, the name that the variable that we need to check, or the value that we need to check there for the palindrome. So I will say we have the reversed ones. Of course, I'll just say ones dot split. So this one will split the one to sing again into an array of letters. Then after splitting, then we'll just apply the reverse array method, and then of course after that we'll join again using the string. So reverse split is the opposite of join. So after you split, then you'll join. So you split them into an array of letters and then reverse them and then join that into a string. So when you just say return one, if one happens to be equal and equals to strictly equals to the served reversed one, then you return that. So you can come and check. Maybe you can have console.log. Then you can check if it's palindrome, and then you can pass the name Adam. That is a palindrome. And then you can see console again .log is palindrome, and then we'll check fixer. So the first one is palindrome, the second is not, because the first one you can read it moving up like this and moving down, like moving forward and moving backward. So let's come to node and execute it again. I'll be calling it palindrome.js. The problem is palindrome is not checked. So let's call it is palindrome then. That's what they want. Another problem. Another problem is palindrome is not defined. It's pali. It's palindrome. It's pali. Is it pali or pali? It's palindrome. I don't know the correct meaning. Pali is palindrome. See very fast. Again, come here and return. Another problem. Once is not defined. It's word. Save. Typing errors there. So true, false, that is okay. The first one is palindrome, the other one is not palindrome. So I'll move to another array method. Then I'll come, of course, and clear. So I want to move to the array map. And the array map transforms each element of an array, of course, and applies a function or a callback to it. So I want to have, let's say, for example, I need to check maybe let me call it students names, student names .js. So I'm assuming that here I have returned students from the server, an array of students object which have a name of, the first name is, let's say, Jane, gender female, and then Jane of course has the admission number, let's say 1020. So that is the first one. I will copy paste this and just copy paste again. I will paste again here. So the second person I'll be calling Laban, gender male, admission let's say 1021, Mark male, admission 1023. So that I have received this from the server. I will assume I have received it from the server. So now I want to make use of the array map. And the array map here, so the array map of course does not affect the array itself, the original array, but it returns a new array. So I'll have an array that I'm calling names, that I'm expecting it to hold students. Array.map, I will try to map each element. Of course, I will pass in the callback, which is each student, and then I will return student dot name. So that one will return a new array with students dot name. So they have Jane, Laban, and Mark. That is simply how array map works. Of course, it could be having the first parameter here it's the element. So of course, the first element is this. We have an element. We could also have the index 0, and we could also have the entire array passed with commas here. So from there, we just come here and say node. I'll say, I think I need console.log names. Console.log names. I'll save this. So node students names.js, Jane, Laban, and Mark. So that is correct. So let's move to another. Let's look at another JavaScript array method. So I'll close this. Maybe I'll copy this so that I can be just copy pasting it. I just copy this. So I'll close it. I'll create a new file where now we'll be talking about the filter. And of course, the filter is similar to the map, but now we intend to do some calculation. So here, I'll maybe say completed students.js, and of course I will paste this array that I copied there here, and just add another completed status, completed status, This one I'll say true this person completed. I'll say false. Let's say true. Now here I can come and apply of course const on this completed students. I want to have the completed students equals to, of course, the students array. Then I will do a filter. With the filter, I will pass in a callback that I'm calling, of course, the student, each student, the elements. And then I will just return only if student is completed status. If completed status is true, student has completed. So I just call this as completed. I think that makes more sense. As completed. As completed. I think that makes more sense. So student dot as, so it will return only where the completed status is true, or it will return elements where it will return a new array where the elements has as completed as true. So node very fast completed students.js console.log console.log completed students. I'll save that. I'll rerun my code. You can see it is just returning those ones who have completed. So let's continue with something else. So I will talk about the for each. So create a new file. So I'll call it shopping list2.js. So here I want to have a constant that will hold my cart items. So it's an array of objects again. Sorry, I can move this up here. So the first object, the first item is the item. So I call this item add disk. This could be a shopping cart. Okay, it's okay. Add disk item description 50 GB. Let's say 500 GB, not 50 GB. And then description, we have the cost. Let's say 15,000. Then quantity, we'll talk about 5. So I'll close that there, comma. I'll copy paste this 3 times, copy, paste, paste. So the second item, I'm calling laptop, and that item I'll be calling it printer. I'll call this MacBook, and I'll be calling this inkjet. This maybe will be, let's call this 45, let's call this 25. 24 number of items, let's say 3, let's say 2. This is what would happen typically in a shopping cart. Now let's calculate the total cost. So I have a variable that I'm calling here, let total cost be 0. That will hold the total cost of these items, and then I'll be making use of the for each. So I will call cart items dot for each, and then I'll be passing in the cart item. Then I'll be coming in using an arrow function there and talking about total cost. Again, the new total cost will be given by an iteration of the cart items dot. Remember, this is the cart item. So with this cart item, I have the cart item element. So dot let's say cost multiplied by cart item dot quantity plus is equals to, that should be 1 word. So that one will give us the total cost for all of this. So if I just come here and say, okay, this should not be there, but here. So if I come and say console.log, then total cost, I'll have the total cost for these items. That is 15 times this times this times this times this. So node, and then shopping list 2.js. You can see 23700, that is okay. So let's continue and see an alternative way to do this. I'm just going to copy this and use the reduce, which converts this into a single, this array into a single value. So I'll just say shopping list 3.js. So I'm going to paste this, and I don't need the total cost here. I'm going just to use the reduce, and I'll assign this to const total cost, which will be given by cat item. Here we'll pass in the first parameter is usually called the will be the total cost, the accumulated value, and then the cat item. So total cost, the accumulated value, and then of course the cat items. I think that is very correct. So here we can talk about bill or the bill, then you can print the bill here. So the reduce of course converts this into into a single value. So I'll save, come here, node, I'll just call it node shopping history.js. Okay, this could be a problem. So of course we have to return here, sorry. It's a single line. Do you have to return for a single line? Of course, we must pass a parameter here to put our accumulated value to initialize it first of all to 0 so that we have something. So 23700, correct? Let's go to the another array method. Of course, I'll be talking about an array that I'm calling test data.js. I want to prepare, or maybe I want to have some test data very fast. Test data. I want to make use of what we call the array object there, and then I'll say fill. I want to fill this array object with ones. But now, once I fill them with ones, then I'll map over these elements. And for the element, I'll just leave it alone, and I'll talk about the index. And for the index, I want to prepare a list of tasks, so I can just return, and then of course say ID on an array of task objects. So I'll say index +1, then comma, and then I'll also talk about the name, which is again I can use the string literal there and say task, and then of course passing the literal index +1. So I have that index 1, index 2, index 3 all the way. So with this, I can now come and say console.log test data. Save my work, of course. Here I just say node test data.js. You can see we are preparing 5 tasks. If I want 10 to 20, just save there. Of course, the field fills with 20s, and then from there so you can see we have the task, an array of test data there that we could be using there. So that is it from there. So the other thing is that we'll also be talking about the array from. So we have the array from, which usually has map by itself. So let's say addition.js, and here I want to have a constant which holds numbers. So I'll be calling, let's say 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here I want to console.log, and then I will use array.from, then I'll pass in the numbers array, and the second parameter of course will be the callback function numbers for the map function. Then of course this will be done by numbers. You can say numbers times numbers, which is number square. Let's see where you get the squares of that. So I will clear node addition.js push problem numbers. I'll come here again, rerun. You can see 4, 9, 16, and 25. So array, again you can use that to array from. Usually the from usually has this is the second parameter, which is the map, which is usually send the array from. So I think the last thing that I'm going to do is also called the last function is addition2.js, and here I need to create a function. Maybe I want one numbers. I'll say I'll create a function. Let's me first of all create a function. Let's say function that I'll be calling calculate marks, and then on this calculate marks to return an array dot from to return a new array. Then from arguments that will be passed in that function, and then reduce, using the reduce, we reduce to a single value. We'll talk about total max, again total max, then current max or the item, and then I'll just come and say total max plus current max, and then return 0. Reduce total max, so this needs to be like this. So array from, so here we can come and have our constant that we'll be calling max, which will be given by an array of max, let's say 50, 60, and 70. So we can use, you can make use of the apply. So we can make use of the apply. Now you can say answer, const answer is equals to max. Okay, calculate max dot apply. Remember the apply, bind, and the apply and the bind that we use to bind objects. So here we're binding it to another object, and we are passing in the max. Let's see whether you get the answer. So console dot log answer. I'll save this. I'll try to compile it. Node addition2.js. You can see it's 180. 50 plus 60, that is 110, plus 70, that is 180. I hope you're enjoying that so much. We have been through a lot on arrays. You can see all these files: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, almost 20 new JavaScript methods. So I hope you love this so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe this channel if this helped you, and share that content with the others. Also follow me on X at Come Kelvin K. Come Kelvin K. This is my username at X. Follow me there. Also don't forget to like and Kelvin K. Okay, so also don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. So let me repeat again: Come Kelvin K. So fixer.co.ke, that's where I share most of my content. Also on Twitter, Come Kelvin K. Please don't forget to follow me there to get additional content. Also check my JavaScript course, again, which I'm releasing on Twitter there, and also on fixer.co.ke with to advanced levels beyond what you have seen here. I hope that helped you so much. Please, thanks for the love, thanks for everything. Share and subscribe and share the message. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy and become a master JavaScript developer. Thank you. Thank you so much.